All right. So thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Let's talk about that stat I just mentioned. 1 out of 8 Americans struggle to get pregnant. I wanted to really hone in on how you're helping to tackle that problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, infertility is a huge, huge issue. Um, it was my issue. I struggled for years, went through multiple rounds of IVF. Nobody really could tell me what was wrong. Turns out it was just a simple hormone imbalance. Um, I just learned that women don't have the right resources. Everybody thinks, oh, well, you're not conceiving because you're not timing intercourse. Trust me, we were having intercourse. That was not the issue. Um, And so, healthcare was also broken in the fact that you had to wait until you were infertile for 12 months or you've had 3 miscarriages before you had the pleasure to go in to pay out of pocket to see a healthcare provider. And so I was like, "You know what? I am not doing this anymore. I am changing this." Went into my basement. That's what MFB stands for, is my fabulous basement.
Oh, no way. That's a great, I love that. I love these stories we find out. I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, what is that? What is Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I said, "If these people aren't gonna do it,
Fabulous
I'm gonna go in
basement.
my basement and I'm gonna invent it myself."
That's great.
So
Oh, so so how does it improve the odds? Like, what is the actual technology or what is it actually that you provide?
Yeah, so to be pregnant, you have to have 2 things, 3 things happen: releasing an egg,
Okay.
timing intercourse so that the egg and the sperm meet,
Right.
and then your uterus has to be prepared to receive that embryo.
Mhm.
And so what they were doing is they were timing intercourse so sperm could meet egg. We were doing the ovulation test to time when that egg was gonna get released, but nobody was focusing on the uterine environment to make sure it was receptive for that embryo. So it's not just, is there an egg, but is your body prepared to
Timing.
receive.
It's the right timing.
It's timing, but it's also, is your body prepared?
Got it. Okay.
And so we tackled that by measuring that hormone that's released after ovulation,
Progesterone, right? Is that right?
progesterone.
Progesterone. I knew it was
Yes,
something like that.
that's
Okay, here we
right,
go.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so progesterone is one of the female hormones. It is super important. If you don't have enough progesterone, you have heavy periods, painful periods, spotting between periods, PMS, postpartum depression, infertility, miscarriage, and it also causes the
Seems
symptoms of
very important, like
menopause.
a very important thing to have.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what we're doing now is we're building beyond fertility to build a platform for women's health. Any woman with a cycle, we can come in, we can learn about your hormones. We measure estrogens, progesterones, FSH. We can do ovarian reserve. We can do hormone balance. We can understand your cycle, get you back on track, help you reach your goals. Would that be getting pregnant, staying pregnant, managing menopause, managing your cycle, whatever it is.
Right. And it started with a simple test, and you've since
Yeah.
expanded to a whole line of tests and a platform. So can you talk? So how do you get access to that if you were trying to? Like, is it? I know I've seen the tests in Target, for example,
Correct.
and other stores
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. We fought hard with the FDA
Mhm.
to tell them that yes, women needed this information. Yes, they could understand this. So we are OTC, we're FDA cleared, we're CE marked, we're around the world. It's very important that we give the consumer that information directly so she could advocate for better healthcare and not have to wait those arbitrary time periods. So yeah, we're at Target, select CVS stores, we're on Amazon, we're at the FSA store, obviously our own branded website.
Indirect. Okay. Cool. And so it basically it took you a little bit to get this going, get that perfect fit. But how did you come up with the product market fit? Were you using yourself in your basement? Talk us through that story.
Oh yeah, I use myself as a guinea pig. So all my products were self-tested, self-developed. But we did crowdfunding. I was a infertile scientist. My co-founder was an infertile scientist. She happened to be a patent attorney. We literally went to the FDA website. We read the instructions, the rules. We Googled who could make this, figured out how much money we needed, and did a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. So that was in
That was the first.
2016.
Wow. So you started there and bootstrapped as well, obviously a little bit there, and then you became VC back. Can you talk a little bit more about your recent Series A and how that all happened? Because I know women in general are still a very small percentage getting funded, and I just it's pretty terrible actually. So we love seeing that you were funded, and so I wanted to make sure that you talk through that process and maybe help some others that are out there trying to raise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any silver bullet, but yeah, we just closed our Series A, 9.6 million.
Woo! We're very thankful to be a part of that round as well. So
That
thank
is
you.
right. You guys are a part of it. Yes. It's actually you guys begged us. Please, can we be on your cap table?
I did.
Yes, yes, you can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have about 6 VCs on our cap table, and it was because the COVID market made at-home testing, at-home diagnostics, virtual healthcare a bigger priority. And so they actually came to us because they saw what we were doing in the market. For women founders, we have to, no pun intended, prove ourselves before we get the funding. Whereas if it the male founders, it's like I have this really amazing opportunity on my napkin. It's so cool. And then they get a lot more funding, where us women have to really, get out there and show, the proof in the pudding. And the way we run our company, which is the biggest advice I would give, is you just got to do right by your consumer. And if you do right by her, him, them, whatever, you will succeed. And so if you do the right thing, if you foster that relationship, someone will see it and they will come to you. Like somebody else said before, you've got to build those relationships. We've had so many people say, "You're too soon. You haven't proved yourself yet. Your revenues are so low, like blah, blah, blah." Great. I will, file you away. And then I come talk to you. And we've had a couple, they're like, you know what? Now is the right time. Here's your check. And it was so easy.
Others were like, please let us on your cap table. And that was me. So anyway, thank you for letting us do that. We appreciate it. We're obviously believe in what you're doing. And that's part of the reason we're so excited for you and what you're up to. So,
Thank you.
but I know there's a little bit of backstory there too, because you came through Startup of the Year. You won our South by Southwest pitch when we were doing pitches in person, like it feels like a decade ago, but it was actually just a few years ago. And ultimately you connected with some folks at Air Force, and that turned into something not something that normally people would think about, but the Air Force and the SBIR program actually has money to give to companies, including companies that like yours, which is not something you think about when you think about Air Force and fertility, right? Those are not two things I would have probably paired together. So can you talk a little bit about that and how that all came together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I think you guys have the most amazing branding, Startup of the Year. So we won Startup of the Year at South by Southwest. Sounds fantastic, right? I mean, that looks amazing on a slide. Like investors are like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's totally true." Right?
It
So
is. It's
it
true.
totally is. It totally so it opened doors. And we went to the annual summit in Nashville in 2019.
Memphis. Memphis.
Memphis. Yes, I knew it was in Tennessee.
Yep.
And they had a mentoring thing. So I think it's tomorrow.
Yep. We have
So you sit
matchmaking.
down with mentors and they match you. They strategically match you with people they think you should talk to. Sat down to Jen Mars at AFWorks, which is the granting institute of the Air Force. And she goes, "The Air Force needs your technology." I said, "Say what?" She's like, "No, no, they need it." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah, they're infertile too." And so I did the research. I looked. I had like 6 days till the next round of applications were due. I put in my application. 2 weeks later, they're like, "Here's $50,000. Go do something." I'm like, "Sweet, let's do something." And so I did. And I came back and I showed them all these stories about all this data I had collected from how horrible it was to be a military couple, fight for the country, to be infertile and to not have that support system to help you build a family. You've given your reproductive years to the military and to not let them in. They were like, "Oh, okay. Here's $1.3 million. Please
Wow.
fix this." So we got a
Wow.
phase 2 and we're working off that right now.
Wow. Congratulations. So that's amazing. So and that's a contract, right? So that's
Yeah.
non-dilutive funding. So that's even better. Wow, that's great to hear. All right. So anybody that's out there, obviously she's proof that there's opportunity for companies that this SBIR program can give you these contracts, which is something we don't necessarily think about. A lot of people get caught up in the chase the VC money kind of situation. So
I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. There are things you have to do. There are hoops you have to go through. There are things you have to do, but it is there for you. Yes.
definitely agree. All right. So I talked briefly about your distribution. You mentioned you're in a couple places like Target and then CVS Select and things like that. That's not easy either. So how did you do that? And I really want to share that for the rest of the audience, because anyone that has physical products is trying to get out there. They're probably wondering how to do it, and you've done it. So share a little bit about how that happened, and maybe some tips on how to get it out there.
So you have to if you have a consumer good, if you have a brand or a product that you need, distribution for, you've got to create a brand that stores want on their shelf. And so both of the CVS and Target came to us. We did not go to them.
Wow.
Yeah. So and
How did they
so
find you?
they were looking for certain products and they went online and they searched and they
Google.
found us and they're like, what you're doing is amazing. You have an amazing community. You're helping so many people. And like all the reviews on Amazon are like, oh my God, you changed my life. Like, you saved my marriage. Like you did the impossible. Like, thank you so much. And that's what the retailers want to do for their guests that come through. They want to be that life-changing thing. They want that store to help support their consumer. And so what COVID has taught these stores is that women are the holder of the purses. And you've got to support women because women will buy for the entire family. And women are leaning into women's health and those kind of products. They want to see those at the store. And so they both reached out to us and now we're in store.
Wow. So I guess the moral of the story there is actually being able to be found, right? So how did what did you do to be found? I guess it
Yeah.
was good website
SEO.
SEO. Yep.
Yeah. SEO. You need Google. You need Facebook. You need to be on social media. You got to have good people behind you that know the right words, know how to do it. Unfortunately, it is a game and they change the game daily. And so you need someone who knows the game. And so we've had fortunate to have partners that have truly believed in our mission that have helped us, stay on the leading edge of those search engines.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Great advice. And so I know we talked about your round already, but I want to dig deeper into there. Maybe there's a little bit of like what's coming in the future with that round because I know it was a significant number, like 9 million or so. So what are you going to do now with that funding and where's Proov going? Because we talked about we started as a test and you're now a platform. So maybe share a little bit more about that and how that's changed.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years ago, we had a Facebook post and we were telling them, "Oh, isn't this amazing? You can test your progesterone. If it's low, then you can, you know that that's why you're not conceiving. You're infertile." She's like, "I actually hate this because you just told me what's wrong, but you didn't give me the solution." We're like, yes, there's no solution. And so we've been working really hard the last 2 years creating that solution. And so we have a set of supplements. So basically, you test your hormone profile, and then we will customize the supplements for you to get your cycle back in balance. And we're hitting different markets. And we're just in fertility, and so we're moving into ovarian reserve. So think about women that want to start their career. They want to know if they want to freeze their eggs or not. We're taking that testing from, I think the in-home options are 169 to $19.
Wow.
And then menopause. Are you in menopause? Do you have symptoms of menopause? We will help you understand where you are on that spectrum, how to
Mhm.
deal with those symptoms. Those tests are $200, $29.
Wow.
So it's making everything more accessible. We use urine instead of blood. We don't have to do finger pricks. You don't have to wait for lab visits. You get 10 minutes. We use
Right.
amazing phone technology that scans it in, ratios, cool things. And so it's just about increasing access to care because women shouldn't have to spend money and wait these arbitrary time periods to feel their best. I mean, the menstrual cycle holds women back.
Yeah. That's absolutely right, and honestly, like, that's super disruptive, that those even the price points alone. Now I'm curious, even at those price points, is this something that the insurance companies are able to reimburse for or anything like that, or how do they handle it? I mean, it's women's health. I mean, they should be, right?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, we have a CLIA waiver, we have a OTC, a CPT code, all that stuff. It's just not covered.
Wow, it's weird. It needs to be fixed, but that's my own personal opinion. So yeah, so okay, so with that, you've built out this ability to have others, other tests and whatnot. Is there an online component as well, or a platform that they can log into and track things, or what else are you building?
Yeah, we have an app. It's called the Proov Insight app. And you can go in there and you can download that. It's all free. You tell them what test kit it is. We walk you through the entire protocol depending on who that woman is. And then every single day you have personalized recommendations on what to do. And so it's diet, mindfulness, uh, supplements, and then at the end of the cycle, we give you a score, 1 to 100. And if that score is low, we also do virtual healthcare where we can connect you straight to a physician. You can talk to the doctor about those results.
Telehealth, great.
Telehealth, exactly. And so we realize that some women want prescriptions. They want, medical intervention. That's what led to my pregnancy was medical intervention.
Right.
And so we want to give women all of those options, whether she wants to do it holistically and balance her cycle herself, or if she needs that medical support. And so helping that bridge that gap between patient and doctor to get
Mhm.
treatment faster.
Right. One final question here for all the startup founders out there. You're a PhD, right? And you started with this problem that was your problem, and you brought it out to help others. What other one piece of advice would you give to folks that are out there that maybe have a similar background or idea that they're trying to bring to the market?
Probably not gonna be popular advice, but for all of us amazing founders that have these amazing ideas, you need a business counterpart to actually call it a business and not just an idea, and bring you that access to the funding, the business side, the marketing, and so you can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have a solid business underneath it, it will never be successful. So that's the biggest advice is find yourself a partner, an ally, build yourself a business, not just an idea.
Great advice. Thanks so much, Amy. Really appreciate you sharing your time here today.
Thank you.